You want to go outside, Vinny? Hi, I'm Phil. Welcome to Pretty Good Cooking.
Pretty good.
This is another Saturday episode. Those are more common these days. Therefore, it is irresponsible to consume alcohol at this hour in the day. Not solely because I'm on childcare duty. Say hi, Arthur. What's up, buddy? But also because I will fall asleep if I drink this early. So, there's that. Okay, today we're gonna make a one-pot ground beef fajita dish. We're making this today. This is not a set recipe. This is kind of an improvisation. This is probably insulting to even Tex-Mex food. So if you got your pitchforks or you're offended by anything, just stop watching. And also, I mean, if you do watch, don't share any of your thoughts. I do not care how you feel about Tex-Mex food. Couldn't care less. All right, let's begin. Kroger, with their online sales, got me with the tricolor peppers, where they were like, ooh, here's a coupon and it's on sale. And then I was like, well, that's a good deal. And then I'm like, what am I gonna do with 20 ounces of bell pepper? And the answer is fajitas. But I'm lazy, and I just wanna cook it all in one thing. That's how we're getting to where we're going. Okay, so I'm chopping these in a particular manner, which is I chop the top and the bottom off. You don't need to do it that way, but I'm doing it for a purpose. That purpose today is we're gonna have bell peppers in two parts of this dish. So I want two types of bell pepper. So my one pot today is a Dutch oven, and I'm going to heat it up over relatively high heat, and I'll finish working on my bell peps. So here I am trimming them, and then I'm gonna slice them in a fajita vegetable style, which is kind of a julienne cut. And you'll just do that until all of them are sliced, and we'll show you what that looks like when I'm done. We will be back. Okay, I can hear the oil sizzling in the pot. Here's my sliced peps. We're just gonna pop them in. And I'm using that high heat because I want to blister them a bit. That's kind of why we're starting with these peppers. I'm trying to get that signature fajita blistered, you know, like it's cooked on high heat at a Tex-Mex place kind of thing. And then for the rest of my peps, I'm gonna chop them more finely. I have a dice. So kind of what I'm going for today is I want to have kind of like a rice and vegetable kind of pilaf below. That's going to be the bottom of our pot dish today, which is kind of like a casserole. And then a layer of the meat, and on top we will top it with our fajita vegetables and peppers, or just vegetables, and cheese if we feel real fancy with it. And a lot of times the fajita vegetables will have some onion. Here's half an onion. I don't remember what I used the other half for. So this is a common trope on our YouTube channel, is finding half an onion in the fridge with a uncertain backstory. Mysterious.
Please leave your backstory for this onion in the comments below.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. If you would like to provide a backstory for that half of an onion, please, we are very interested in hearing that. You can comment that in the comments. Alright, so I'm going to use a quarter of the onion there. I think that'll be plenty. Already, look, if you take a look here in the pot, you can see the bottom of the pot's browning because we're starting to get some char on some of these peppers. That's great. That's exactly what we're trying to do. Hot peppers. Pop those onions in there. Okay, I'm going to take the other quarter of an onion, and just like we did with the bell pep, we're going to dice it up for our pilaf. Or our rice is really what it is. We got a couple cloves of garlic. I think we'll use 2. I'm just going to rough chop the garlic. One of the things I've said many times on the show is I don't mind big pieces of garlic. And I don't mind feeding people big pieces of garlic. And I've got half a jalapeno. I do want a little bit of spice in our dish, so we'll pop that in right there. Alright, these are starting to soften a little bit. We got a little bit of blistering. Fine, I'm probably not going to get perfect results today. You know, the bottom of the pot's starting to scorch a bit, so don't worry about that. So what we're going to do next is dirty yet another bowl. So I guess this is a 1-pot and 2-bowl dish. Pull out our sauteed stuff. And next we're going to brown our meat. Now I did this in this order because I thought I would have better luck kind of controlling the amount of fat rather than frying these peppers in the beef fat. But I am going to fry the other vegetables in the beef fat. So that's kind of how I was logicking it. And we'll just do a quick once over of just neutral oil. And some beef. This is 85-15. Hey, by the way, I've been constantly washing my hands, but we don't always film that because it's not interesting. But I'm constantly washing things, so don't fret. A little bit of a conspiracy on that.
I ain't never seen him do it.
John's a bold-faced liar. All right, let's spice up our meat. How you doing, Arthur? I got some oregano. I got some 6 chili powder. What are the 6 chilies? Don't know. Got some cumin. I need to buy some more cumin. That's the end of the cumin. Got some garlic powder. I got some onion powder.
Excuse me?
Onion powder. Excuse me. Excuse me. Yeah, you're excused, John. And I got a little bit of cayenne. Oh no, that's paprika. That's fine. Whatever. You can use cayenne if you want. We're using chilies today, so it doesn't matter. And I'll give it some salt. And if you got like taco seasoning, fajita seasoning, whatever, that's fine too. You can just use that. Some black pepper. I think it does make sense to season your meat at this point, specifically because it'll get into that nice cooking fat and the beef fat as it renders, and therefore will be carried. It'll be carried to the other parts of the dish. We'll let that cook, breaking up the beef as we go. We'll see what's wrong with Arthur. Okay, it's not really ideal, but I'm tired of dirtying bowls. So our beef's been browned, and I'm just gonna pop it in the same bowl as the peppers. And you can see that there's not really that much fat in this beef, but it will leave some flavor there in the pot, and we'll try to capture that flavor. And if you don't get all of the beef out, not totally the end of the world, just have some crispy bits. Okay, next up, again, a little bit more oil, just trying to make sure nothing sticks. And we'll go ahead and pop these veggies in. So these are gonna be kind of like our rice veggies. Usually I think it makes sense to wait on putting the garlic in there, but we're not gonna like fully saute these vegetables. We're just gonna brown them a little bit, and then we'll let them cook with the rice as well. Let's let these go for maybe just a couple minutes, and we will measure out some rice for today. The amount of rice you use is just kind of a personal choice, I'd say, but you want at least a cup. I like to do like a cup and a half. That's typically like a good amount of rice for me. We got a can of diced tomatoes. If you are one of those Rotel people, the chilies and stuff, you can use that, that's fine. I opted to use other chilies, so I don't need it. Don't write a comment telling me to use Rotel to upgrade this dish. I don't want your input. I don't care. So we're just trying to soften these just a little bit, and then we're gonna toast the rice in there too, and I think that'll be good. All right. Yet a little bit more oil. Don't be afraid of the oil. It's not that much oil. Don't worry. I'm gonna pop in our rice and we're gonna toast it in the oil, or kind of like saute it in this. Makes for tasty rice. And as you do this, we'll move it around in here, trying to make sure that everything gets nice and coated. And then my hope, just a hope, is that I can deglaze some of the stuff off the bottom with the tomatoes. And one of the things that's kind of... Oh, thought's gone. Never mind. No idea what I was going to talk about. All right, so my rice is definitely sticking. There's definitely some nice smell. So now it's time to deglaze. And what you'll notice is one side of my pot, there's a lot more schmutz than the other. So what am I going to do? I'm going to shove everything to the side of the pot where the schmutz is not. That's where I'm going to put my acid. I didn't even get the tomatoes out, but the tomato juice is there. And it's not really coming up. So that's fine. Actually, I'm gonna go a step further. I'm gonna plop a little bit of cooking wine. This is sake. See if this makes any difference. Probably not. If it doesn't scrape, then it doesn't scrape. That's fine. We'll just have a tougher pot to cook, or to clean, rather. So let's get the rest of the tomatoes in there. So even though I'm not able to get all of that stuff off the bottom of the pan, it will imbue flavor. Like I can see bits of it are scraping off into there. It'll taste nice. Another thing we're gonna add is some corn, some frozen corn. Super sweet. You don't need to cook it beforehand or anything. Probably gonna use about half the bag of corn, something like that. And that'll be our veggie mix. And I'm gonna add more liquid to this. So I'm kind of thinking of this as like the arroz con pollo, where like if you were doing this like with a whole chicken, you cook the rice and with the chicken on top. It's kind of how I was thinking about this.
Is that water?
It's water. I'm just using the tomato can because it's handy. I am eyeballing the water, so I basically just like want to just cover the rice just a little bit, and we'll do some more residual scraping. Put so many veggies in there, you can almost forget that there's rice in there. And I think I'm just gonna cook it like that, because what I'm gonna, after that cooks for the rice, we're gonna put a cover on it. I'm gonna do the layer of beef, the layer of the peppers, and some cheese. And we'll see if we can like round it out that way. I think it's gonna be really good. So I think that's a pause point. I think we're getting there. So I'm gonna take this up to a simmer. I'm gonna turn the heat down so it can cook like regular rice. And we hope it absorbs all the liquid. If it doesn't, then we're gonna have more of a stew than whatever the hell I'm making. But we'll be back soon. I forgot I was gonna add some caldo con sabor de pollo, some chicken bouillon. I think it'll taste nice in this. And again, that's my, I'm like thinking about that arroz con pollo kind of angle. All right, now we'll be back. Okay, so it's been cooking only for a few minutes, but one thing I just showed John before I mix this up. You'll see liquid pooling on the top. It's actually probably more done than what it looks like. So if you stir it up, a lot of the liquid will just kind of like distribute, and then you'll realize, hey, wait a minute, this is mostly cooked. So this does need to cook a little bit more. We kind of want it to firm up a little bit, but at this point, I think it makes sense to add our layer of beefs. And I'm trying to be careful because I'm trying to have a layer of beef and then a layer of peppers, but if a couple peppers get in there, well, I won't tell you. You don't tell anybody. That made perfect sense. Okay, there's our beef layer. You can see it's really starting to firm up here. So next we're gonna do our pepper layer. And I don't think I'm gonna have quite enough to complete, well, yeah, maybe I will. These are gonna be harder to like distribute. So I'm trying to be a little more careful there. And then right on top of this, we're gonna add some cheese. And my initial impression is that even just from like me stirring it up, it's starting to dry out to a point where I think it's probably pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the cheese on now, and we're gonna, if you want it to like get real sweaty, like you want it just to like look like a very fancy meal, you could put the whole thing under the broiler to kind of brown some of the cheese. I am making a throw together casserole on a Saturday afternoon while trying to watch my child. Therefore, I'm going to melt the cheese by steaming the cheese. I'm just gonna put the lid on, it'll be fine. Hey, also, by the way, you don't even need to melt the cheese. You can just throw it right on top. It's gonna taste great. So there's our layer of cheese. This is Mexican style blend, which is Colby, cheddar, and Monterey Jack. I have this on the lowest heat because my lowest heat is actually kind of like medium low. Pop the lid on there and we'll see if we can get that cheese to melt. And very quickly, we're gonna chop some garnishes, which are 100% optional. So I'm just gonna chop a tomato. This is basically to make our end food look better. You know, you don't gotta do this. Let's take a quick peek. Cheese is starting to melt. I'm gonna turn the heat off. This is a Dutch oven. The residual heat will keep going. It's gonna help me prevent burning the bottom. I'm gonna try to put that boy down for a nap. And I got the mandatory iceberg lettuce. You just gotta have it. I know it says a lot about me that I crave iceberg lettuce from time to time. What can I say? I am what I am. I was thinking about making some bougie like sour cream sauce for this, but instead I think I'm going to use hot sauce and sour cream separately. I would have mixed them together. That's what the difference would have been. Let's see what's going on in our pot. Hey, look at that! The cheese melted. And it actually looks pretty good, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Doesn't it, John?
It looks pretty good. Okay,
so the meal is done. I'm literally using this greasy meat bowl because there's flavor in there. I don't want to wash it out. So this is the type of meal. You get your scoop and you just pop out. Look at that. It actually held together pretty decently, and that's what I was going for. I'm quite happy with that. So we'll get a little bit more, and we will gussy the garnish. A little bit of lettuce, a little bit of tomato, and that's better than usual. Okay, so that's our plate today. All right, so let's taste little bits of this. I'm just gonna try to see how the rice is. Quite good. It like reminds me of the kind of like chickeny arroz con pollo rice. We actually use the right amount of liquid. Let's get some cheese action going with the peppers, rice. That's good. It reminds me of like someone's mom's enchiladas, you know? It's like decidedly Midwestern wholesome food flavor. It's not spicy at all. I'm gonna add hot sauce, but it was quite easy to make and it tastes good. And that's our bar for success today. So, hope you enjoyed this episode today. Arthur needs comforting and consoling, so I'm gonna go do that. But if you like what we're doing, great. We'll see you next time on PGC. Bye-bye. Oh, and that's how you do it. And all the letters of an onion in the, oh no, it's nap time again for Arthur, but he doesn't want to go to sleep. Okay, bye.